Okay, coming to the chapter 2 of this lesson. Nicobobinus ran as fast as he could across the lawn, down the path, round a hedge, and into a little shed and bolted the door. So, as soon as the man uh, had fallen on the pile of leaves, so Nicobobinus he found an opportunity and he ran as fast as he could. Okay, now he ran across the lawn, he crossed the lawn, and then he traveled through up down a path, and then he rounded a hedge. Hedge is basically it's a row of small bushes or small plants, you can say, or small trees that have been that are in close contact with each other. Okay, and into a little shed. Shed is basically it's a room, a very small room. Okay, in which you might keep some sort of supplies or something like that, and bolted the door. And then he bolted the door, or bolted means locked the door. Okay, put up the bolt. Open up, cried the man, and the hinges creaked and the door shook as he banged it with his fist. Now the man, he got up and he ran to this little shed where Nicobobinus was hiding, and he demanded that he open up the door. And he was like banging. He was hitting the door of the shed with his fist. Fist means with your hands, okay, with your pumped up fist or hands like this, okay. And the hinges creaked and the door hinges basically hinges are the things that hold up a door. Okay, so they were like creaking, they were like moving, and the whole door was shaking. That door is not going to last long, thought Nicobobinus to himself, and he dragged a large old stone roller up against it. Okay, now Nicobobinus thought that with all the banging that the man is doing, and he was banging with his fist, so he was thinking that this door, it would crash down, or it would be torn away from its hinges. And he thought that it would not last long. So he basically dragged a very large stone roller up against it so that the door may not open because of the banging of the person. Open this door at once. Do you hear? The man was shouting. So the man was shouting that, hurry up, open up the door. You're hiding behind it. But Nicobobinus didn't hear anything at all. He was too amazed by what he had found. So Nicobobinus was not paying any attention to this person's appeals, and because he was very much amazed, he was very much surprised, because he had found something in the shed. Okay, you will have to come out eventually. Now that man was saying, okay, you're going to come out eventually at any time, and the longer you leave it, the worse it will be for you. So he is threatening this Nicobominus that the longer you remain behind the door, so you are making the situation much worse for your own self, because once this man catches him, then he is going to punish him very harshly. But he could have saved his breath. Okay, Nicobominus was on his knees, examining what he had revealed when he moved the roller. So when he pushed the stone roller against the door, Nicobobinus found something that was uh, on the floor. Okay, and he was on his knees. अपने घुटनों पे था, वो देख रहा था जब उसने रोलर को मूव किया तो उसको कुछ चीज़ नीचे नजर आई. He brushed off the dust and undid the catch and then lifted it up. So there was a type of a door that was on the floor, okay, a trap door, you might say. So he basically cleaned all the dust from that trap door, and he undid the catch. Catch means that he undid the lock, you can say. Catch is basically the lock on the window or a door. Okay, so he lifted up the trap door. Right, I'm going to break this door down, said the man, and then because he knew he would have to repair the door himself, he added, do you hear? So now he's threatening Nicobominus, and he's saying, that I'm going to break this door down, कि मैं ये दरवाज़ा तोड़ दूंगा. Or then he came to know, by breaking the door, he would have to repair the door himself. So door खुद ही repair करना पड़ेगा. Then he changed his threat, and he was asking, do you hear what I'm saying? But Nicobominus didn't hear. Nicobominus had disappeared through the trapdoor he had discovered. But Nicobominus was not hearing any of the things that the man was saying, because he had found the trapdoor, and he basically disappeared into it. He went through that trapdoor to some other place. and was running down stone steps that were slippery with slime and that smelt of graveyards. As soon as he opened the trapdoor, so there were stairs, and he was running through those stone steps. And those stone steps, they were very slippery with slime. Slime is basically a sort of an unpleasant thick liquid, okay, unpleasant thick liquid. And it smelled of graveyard. उसकी जो smell आई थी ऐसा लगा था जैसे कोई कब्रिस्तान है. And that went down and down deeper into the ground. And these stone steps that were stairs, they basically went down very deep into the ground until it became pitch black. कि जब तक complete अंधेरा ना हो गया. So he went into that pitch blackness. Rosie, said Nicobobinus to himself, this is all your fault. Now he is blaming Rosie that, she came up with this wonderful idea that they should go and discover the land of dragons. So Rosie is the person who, with her wild ideas, has gotten Nicobobinus in a very, you can say, bad situation. his he heard his heart pounding. Now he could hear that his heart, it was thumping, it was pounding, and his steps echoing along the dank rock of the narrow passageway. Dank basically means something that is damp or cold, or and extremely unpleasant. Okay, something that is damp and cold. So his heart was pounding, and he could hear the steps of his foot echoing. Echoing का मतलब होता है कि आपको इको आता है किसी चीज़ का, आपको अपने ही चलने की आवाज़, अपने ही बोलने की आवाज़ अगर दोबारा सुनाई देती है गूंजती हुई, सो दैट मीन्स इको. ओके. Until all at once there was nothing, and before he realized he was falling in the blackness, he was. So he was running, and then he realized that there was nothing, and then he realized that he was falling in the blackness, and he was. So as he was running, the stone steps, they ended, and he fell into, and then he fell, and there was complete blackness all around him. Okay, several thoughts flashed through his mind at the same time. So as he was falling, or as he was uh, traveling through the blackness, he was having these several thoughts in his mind. Okay, the first was something along the lines of bother, only a bit ruder. The second was a rather unkind thought about his best friend, who had instigated the whole expedition, and it involved her dangling over a snake pit. Okay, while numerous dragons, fierce dragons, flew at her, chanting, "How could you do it to him?" So, जो पहली उसको थॉट आई थी, जो पहला ख्याल दिमाग में आता, तो वो पहले बॉदर का था, ओनली अ बिट रूडर. और दूसरा ख्याल उसके बारे में एक बड़ा बुरा सा आ रहा था अपनी बेस्ट फ्रेंड के लिए, रोज़ी के लिए, जिसने हु हैड इंस्टिगेटेड द होल एक्सपीडिशन. इंस्टिगेट का मतलब होता है टू ब्रिंग इनटू इफेक्ट, टू कॉज समथिंग, किसी वजह से कुछ हो जाए तो उसको कहते हैं इंस्टिगेट. ठीक है, द होल एक्सपीडिशन. एक्सपीडिशन मीन्स जर्नी. जो भी उसने ये प्लान आउट किया था दैट वी आर गोइंग टू ट्रैवल टू द लैंड ऑफ ड्रैगन्स, सो दिस इज़ नोन एज एन एक्सपीडिशन. ओके, ये एक जर्नी है. एंड इट इन्वॉल्व हर डैगलिंग ओवर. तो उसके माइंड में ख्याल आता कि वो उसको लटका रहा है एक स्नैक पिट पे. स्नैक पिट होता है जहाँ पे एक कोई होल होता है जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा स्नैक्स हो. सो ही वॉज थिंकिंग, ही वॉज ड्रीमिंग इन हिज थॉट्स, और दैट ही इज़ डैंगलिंग, कि उसने लटकाया हुआ है रोज़ी को एक स्नैक पिट के ऊपर, जहाँ पे नीचे फियर्स ड्रैगन्स जो हैं वो उसको देख रहे हैं और चांट कर रहे हैं, बोल रहे हैं कि तुम अपने दोस्त के साथ, निकोबामिनस के साथ, ये किस तरह कर सकती थी. पुअर निकोबामिनस. ओके. The third thought was, suppose it's a well, a deep, unused well. Now, as he is falling to the blackness, so this third thought is more valid, okay, because it has to do with the situation that he is present. That he is thinking कि ये कुआं है, well का मतलब होता है कुआं, a deep, unused well, एक बहुत गहरा और बग़ैर कोई यूज़ किए हुए, इतना ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल में ना हो, तो ये उस तरह का एक कुआं है, with slimy, slippery sides that you could never climb, and icy bottom at the bottom that. So he's thinking कि ये जो कुआं है, ये जो well है, ये बहुत full of slime है, बहुत ज़्यादा thick liquid के साथ है, और ये इतना slippery है कि even if he wanted to get out from this well, he can't do it actually, because it's slippery, and the moment he tries to climb this well, he would again straight fall into the well. Okay, and icy bottom at the bottom that. Okay, now this well is having icy water, at the bottom. Okay, at this point he discovered it was not a well. So now he was discovering, find कर रहा था कि it is not a well. He made this discovery very suddenly, and he found out this in a very abrupt manner and very painfully, and this thing caused him a great deal of pain as well. Off, said Nicobobinus, and he lay there in the pitch blackness. So it was not a well actually, it was some sort of a ground, and he fell on that ground and he was lying there in complete blackness with not a single breath left in his body. And he felt very badly that he was not able to breathe properly, okay, for what seemed like the whole winter but was probably only a few seconds. So it looked like to him that he was lying there breathless, not able to catch his breath in that place for a long time, but it was only for a few seconds. He came to himself in fact, just as a stone hit him on the head, and he came to his senses. He came to himself. It means that he regained his senses. Uh, एज अ स्टोन हिट हिम ऑन द हेड, जैसे उसके सर पे एक पत्थर लगा तो वो अपनी सेंसेस पे आ गया. उफ, सेड निकोबोमिनस अगेन, एंड देन रियलाइज ही कुड हेयर फुटस्टेप्स हाई अबव हिम. नाउ ही इज अगेन गिविंग अस द expression of pain, off, and then he thought that he could hear the footsteps very high above him. Stop, sir, he called out, but the footsteps kept on coming down. Now he was addressing the footsteps and he was saying that stop, whoever is coming out, but those footsteps, they still ignored his pleas and they kept coming down. Aha, I have got you now, cried the man. So a man is saying that, I have got you now, Nicobobinus, and I shall beat every bone in your body until it is black. And he is threatening him, and he is uh, being very violent towards him in his speech, that I'm going to beat you very severely, and soon every part of your body, the color of your body is going to change into black. And but they don't say blue here because there's a disruption over here. Nicobobinus supposed the man was going to say blue, but in fact, the next word he uttered sounded more like this word. Okay, but the man was not able to complete his speech and say black and blue. So the next word the man uttered का मतलब होता है said. Okay, कहना. It was not a word with which Nicobobinus was at all familiar. So the word he uttered, it was not a word जिसको Nicobobinus बहुत अच्छी तरीके से जानता था या समझता था, but he understood its meaning perfectly. But he understood the meaning of that word, this big word that the man uttered, and moved smartly out of the way. And he basically moved from that place. Crash. Then there was a big crash. Are you all right? He asked. Now Nicobobinus was asking, inquiring from the man that was he all right? There was silence, and there was complete silence. He could not hear the man say anything. Nicobobinus felt his way back in the pitch darks. Now he was unable to see the man, and because there was complete darkness everywhere. So he got up and he started to feel his way out from this dark place until his hand touched the man's leather jerkin. So the man, he was wearing a leather jerkin. Jerkin means a sleeveless jacket, okay, especially made of leather. The man was lying as still as death, but he was breathing. So the man, he basically uh, something hit that man, and he was lying on the floor as he was dead, but he was still breathing. Okay, the next page. I must get help, said Nicobobinus to himself, and he began groping around in the blackness to find another way out. So Nicobobinus, he thought to himself, I should try to get some help for myself and for that man. And he began to feel his way in the blackness to find some way out from this place, which was completely dark, pitch black. When he found it, however, his heart sank. But when he found a place that he thought he could take that route and get out from this place, his heart sank. Uh, his heart sank. It means that he lost all hope actually. The only exit appeared to be a narrow gap. तो जो बाहर निकलने का रास्ता उसको नजर आ रहा था, वो एक बहुत ही पतला सा कोई गैप था, डाउन बाय द फ्लोर, जो कि फ्लोर पे था. नो मोर देन अ फुट हाई, और तकरीबन 1 फुट मतलब एक फुट जितना जो था वो लंबा था, आप कह सकते हैं. आई कॉन्ट स्विम थ्रू दैट इन द पिच डार्क. अब he said to himself, now he is thinking to himself, I cannot wriggle or move from side to side in this small hole, especially when it's completely dark. But at that very moment he heard Rosie's cheerful voice saying, you can do it. But at that instant, at that moment, he heard a voice of Rosie that was compelling him to, take this road, and that she believed that he can do it. He can take this narrow gap, and he can come out from the pitch blackness that he is in. Nicobobinus span around, sorry. Span is the past form of spun, okay? And there, to his immense surprise, was nothing. So as soon as he turned around to see Rosie, who told him that he can do it, he was surprised that there was nothing, there was no Rosie behind him. No Rosie, no anybody. So there was no Rosie and there was no anybody in that dark place. But I don't know if it leads anywhere, he said to the voice in his head. So he's talking in his head, and he's saying that he's not sure that if he takes this narrow gap, it might lead anywhere. It might be like a, you can say, a dead end. It might not be a place. It might not take him out from this pitch blackness. And it is such a tight squeeze, I might get stuck. So he's getting these fears in his heart, in his head, that this is such a tight place, that if even if I try going inside this place, that he might get stuck, कि वो वहाँ पे कि ऐसा ना हो इस सुराख के अंदर फंस जाए. He didn't hear Rosie's voice again, but he knew that what it would have said, and that was how he found himself wriggling down a narrow passage of stone in the pitch black. But he did not hear Rosie's voice again. But it knew, उसको पता था कि वो उसकी वॉइस क्या कहेगी अगर वो सुन भी लेता रोज़ी की, कि वो जो है क्या कहेगी कि कर सकते हो, तुम यहाँ से निकल सकते हो. और फिर उससे अपने आप को पाया कि किस तरह वो जो है एक नैरो से पैसेज जो स्टोन का था उसमें रिगल कर रहा है, उधर अंदर घुसा हुआ है, एंड ही इज़ मूविंग फ्रॉम साइड टू साइड टू to go through. He squirmed and he wriggled there in the black for long time, and the tunnel got narrower until he could hardly inch along it. So as soon as he's in the tunnel, he was moving, he was squirming, he was wriggling in the blackness, and the tunnel, it was getting narrower. Tunnel जो था वो बहुत ज़्यादा tight होता जा रहा था, और फिर एक वक्त ऐसा आया that he was unable to move any further. I am going back to himself, but he didn't. So he's getting these thoughts in himself, and he's saying, I can't do this, so I'm just going to go back from where I came. But he did not quit. Okay, he just kept wriggling and squirming until suddenly he found he could stand up. So he kept moving forward, and then he found that he could actually stand up. He took a pace forward and fell immediately over a stone steps leading up. So he was moving ahead. He moved ahead actually, and then he fell over because there was a stone step and they were leading up. Ow, he said. So this is an expression interjection of pain. Okay, although what he really meant was thank goodness. So he was very glad that he has found some sort of stone steps that might take him towards the surface, because he was quite deep underground. He began to climb, and he was still climbing some minutes later. So he started to climb up the stone steps, and he was climbing the stone steps for quite a few minutes. It must be a tower, he thought. So he thought that ये कोई टावर हो सकता है, कोई एक लंबी सी इमारत हो सकती है, और द ग्रैंडेस्ट हाउस इन वेनिस, या फिर कोई बहुत ज़बरदस्त किस्म का घर जो है वो वेनिस की सिटी में होगा. बट एट दैट वेरी मोमेंट ही saw a crack of light. But उसी वक्त जो है he basically saw some hint of light coming. He stretched out his hand and found himself touching a catch. Then he was stretching out his hand trying to reach for something. Then he found that he was touching some catch means lock that clicked softly in the dog. और जैसे उसने कैच को पकड़ा तो उसने क्लिक की साउंड आई अंधेरे में a panel suddenly slid open. Then a panel, it slid open, slide okay, open हो गया, and Nico Bobina stepped through into the most amazing room he had ever seen. And then he found himself, after opening the panel, that he was standing in one of the most amazing rooms that he has ever come across in his entire life. So as you can see, students, that this chapter, it's about the adventure of Nicobobinus, and it's about two characters, Nicobobinus and his friend Rosie. And Nicobobinus is the extraordinary guy, extraordinary person with amazing abilities, and Rosie is the one. Rosie has been portrayed as a funny character because she gets all sorts of these wild ideas, and they start to travel towards the land of dragon. So they have not actually reached the land of dragon, but Nicobobinus has discovered something amazing that he had not discovered previously in his past life. So the second chapter, it deals with how he basically evades the person who catches him in the garden, and he locks himself in a shed, and then he basically, you can say, finds a trapdoor, and this trapdoor, it has stone steps, and he goes underground. And after a while, as he is climbing down the stairs, he falls. Okay, he falls, and he has these thoughts, three thoughts in his mind, and one of these thoughts is about hurting Rosie because she came up with such a bad and irresponsible idea for them to go on an adventure. And the third one is like, he thinks that he's falling into a well, and he has this insecurity that, the well might be slimy, and it might be having slippery surface that he won't be able to climb out from. And then he falls into the pitch blackness on the ground, and a stone hits him. Then there comes a man, and he tries to catch him, but that man also falls, and he's lying there unconscious. And he takes a leap of faith, and he takes a leap of faith, and he goes into the narrow passage underground, and he tries to wriggle and move from side to side in this narrow hole, and finally he comes up on the other side, and he climbs stone steps, and he keeps climbing, and then he comes out into a room which he finds very amazing. So it's a good story. It's written by Terry Jones, and the novel is called Nicobobinus. It's the title of the novel is based on the name of the character, Nicobobinus. So inshallah, what I want you to do right now is, after going to the chapter with me, I would like you to read it on your own, okay, just for a minute. And if you find any sort of problem, sort of troubling any sort of trouble in comprehending the chapter, you can ask me in the comment section. So inshallah, in our next class that is going to be held on Tuesday, we would be doing the exercises, okay, comprehension, and we would look at lines of speeches. We would do the relevant exercises that are included in our syllabus. So go through this chapter, and I would like every one of you to read it at home. Don't put it off, just read it. Okay, thank you.